Today, I want to talk to you about backpacking, how to plan for a trip, what to expect along your hikes, and how to enjoy your time in the wilderness. The sun appears to be shining off polished metal as it shines on streaks of marble embedded in gray stone that makes up a ridge with a narrow hiking trail. Any direction you look is free of any kind of building. Nothing can be seen except for trees, mountains, lakes, and mounds of snow that seem to illogically survive the hot weather. The only sound to be heard is the buzzing of a beetle and the gravel crunching on the ground as you shift your foot over it. You take a deep breath and relax, because there are no jobs, no bills, and no stress. This is the sanctuary backpacking brings you. It truly is the last way to escape modern life for a week or two in order to unwind. In this speech, I'm going to tell you how to prepare for your backpacking expedition, tell you what to expect along your journey, and offer some insight of other activities that are related to backpacking that you can partake in. When preparing for a backpacking trip, there are two important things to decide: where to go and what to bring. Backpacking can be done in the United States or all around the world. We often hear about how rich young college students go backpacking in Europe with their parents' trust fund money, but today I'm going to focus more on backpacking within the United States. Before you go anywhere, you must decide how far you're willing to travel. Do you want to leave the area, or do you know of a spot nearby where you can go backpacking? Since almost all wilderness areas are federally controlled, the best place to start is to check with the U.S. government. If you go to this website here, fs.fed.us/locator-map, you can see all the wilderness areas that are available to camp and visit. If you click on any of these links that you're interested in, it'll take you to a website that will list all the directions, information about the area, safety concerns, and specific rules and regulations. Keep in mind that when you go to most of these areas, food, water, and emergency services will be scarce or non-existent. Some of these areas require special permits and passes, especially if you go into the deep wilderness areas away from any kind of state parks. So make sure you have your documents and paperwork before you actually leave to these areas. There may be restrictions on the size of a group. This can be the size of a group within a certain area that you visit, a length of stay, which can be this trip or total length of stay in a year, campsite sizes, or even whether or not you can use rope or tether. When packing for a trip, it is important to remember that you are packing absolutely everything that you will need and that it's all going to be on your back, so you want to pack light and effective. Before you decide what to pack, you want to pick your backpack. You can see here we have two different options: the framed and the non-framed. The framed has a metal bar around the side of it, which actually holds everything together, where the non-framed is like a larger traditional school backpack. I prefer the framed version because it's sturdier. A lot of people prefer the non-framed version because it doesn't get caught on brushes or walking through. It's all about personal preference, so you definitely want to try it on like you would clothes before you take it to make sure that it's comfortable. Aside from your backpack, you have to decide what you're going to do about food and water. Most of the time in your wilderness area, especially ones set up by the government with trails, there will be springs along the way, which offer safe, fresh drinking water. However, you do want to bring a water purification system like this one, along with a bunch of water bottles to make sure you avoid any kind of emergency situations. When it comes to food, you don't want to rely on freeze-dried or pre-prepared food like this. You can actually take advantage of cooking your own food out there. Bring lots of pasta, oatmeal, canned goods, chips, potatoes, dehydrated fruit, and utensils and matches to prepare food over fire. You can also use a camp stove. I've personally never done it before backpacking. Some people like it. When it comes to shelter, you have two major options: a tent or a tarp. A tent provides a sense of security and also increased protection from wind and weather. A tarp doesn't quite so much. However, it is a lot lighter. It can be turned into a makeshift tent and even used as a hammock. So it's whatever you're more comfortable carrying. Now that you have your food and water set aside, your shelter, your backpack, and your destination plan, you're ready to hit the trail. Before leaving, make sure that you have hiking boots that are going to hold up, because there will be a lot of uphill climbing over rocks. Make sure you have all your gear with you and that you're properly hydrated. As you're traveling along the trail, make sure to take advantage of the numerous sights to see. A lot of times you'll come to a nice flat area, be able to lean up against a rock, have a drink of spring water, and you'll see the view. This is what backpacking is all about, the actual journey. Often you'll go through and you'll see wildlife. Most wildlife is harmless, but you may run into some harmful creatures. Off-grid survival offers us a few tips on how to deal with these. If confronted by a mountain lion, scare it off with loud noises, attack it with rocks, knives, tools, anything that you have. Do not run away or play dead. However, if you run into a bear, you want to do the exact opposite. Bears, you want to slowly back away, avoid making any kind of noises, and try not to confront it. If you run into a little vermin, like let's say a snake, raccoon with rabies, or scorpion, treat it the same way you would a bear. Just back away slowly. If you are bitten or stung by anything that's poisonous, you can use a little rubber suction cup to actually pull the poison out, but you do want to get to emergency services immediately, as all the toxins cannot be pulled out of your body with a little rubber suction cup. The truth is, you're more likely to encounter a jackrabbit than a rattlesnake or a bear, and you'll make it to your campsite completely unharmed. When you first get to your campsite, you want to make sure you find a water source so that that's not an issue. Go ahead and set up your fire so you can have warmth and be able to cook your food, and find a nice area to set up your tent or your tarp. And this is where you can take your time to relax. There are many activities you can do while camping out in the wilderness. One of the most obvious ones is probably fishing. You will see many various lakes in these wilderness spots, and even though they are in the middle of nowhere, it seems, a lot of times the various state and federal agencies will actually stock these with fish. They actually drop them out of an airplane. And so you can bring yourself a little backpacking rod like this one here in the case, which only weighs about half a pound, making fishing really easy to do. A lot of times you hike around areas where people have camped before, especially by lakes, you'll find a lot of cool things. While I was camping in the Marble Mountains, I would explore around and I found old cabins, I'd find boats, and all sorts of old campsites and houses that were set up, things you wouldn't expect to find in a wilderness area. The most important thing you can do while backpacking is absolutely nothing. This is your time to relax. As I stated earlier, there's no jobs, no stress, no bills. Just sit down, relax, have a cup of coffee, and even read a book if you want to. I hope I've sparked your interest in backpacking. It's a good way to take a break from modern life. Proper planning and packing will make the trip easier. However, experience is the only way to actually get a lot better at setting up your backpacking trip. I told you there are a few hazards that are rare, but they can easily be dealt with. Wilderness Campsite offers chances for exploration as well as relaxation. If you need a new idea for a vacation, consider backpacking.